Hi everybody, welcome back to Mary Beth Dwells in Books. I'm Mary Beth, and today I'm going to be talking about the 5 reasons that you should read Elizabeth Acevedo. Now, I've only read one book by her, and it was Clap When You Land, but I am such a stan for her, and I understand the hype surrounding Elizabeth because she is absolutely amazing. Now, I have to read her other 2 works, obviously, but if I was that blown away by her first book that I've read, I had to make this video because I just couldn't believe how much I absolutely loved her. Like, I thought it might have been one of those hype trains, but turns out that I was wrong, so here we go. Number 5, I want to say her prose. Now, I have not read With the Fire on High, like I said, so that is her, like, full-length novel, book, and Clap When You Land, and then also The Poet X is written in verse, and I absolutely love books written in verse, but just the lyrical way that she writes, it's not too, like, it's not too much in your face, like, too much, description. It's just enough. Like, you can picture where it's happening, you can picture what's going on around the characters, but it doesn't take away from the characters. And speaking of characters, number 4 is definitely the characters, Yamino and, Yamino, oh my god, Camino and Yahara. I'm pretty sure that's how you say her name. I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. But I absolutely adored both of them. And there was Loving Women rep in Clap When You Land, and it was beautifully done. It wasn't central to the plot at all, but it was just so good. And I felt like both of them were such real teenagers. Like, you know how sometimes authors, like, I don't know if they forget how they were when they were teenagers, or if they just can't write teenagers well because they're so far removed from that time in their life. It literally felt so... it took me back to my teenage years. Like, I can't relate in the sense that I am not any sort Dominican or any sort of marginalized community besides the LGBT community, but it was just absolutely phenomenal. Like, I related so much to the 2 girls, and I absolutely loved them. And at number 3, I want to say the grief surrounding this book. I mean, obviously, I don't relate. I don't. My dad is my dad. Like, I don't share him with anybody else. I'm an only child. And hopefully he doesn't have a secret life. I would hope not. That would be absolutely awful. I don't even know how I would deal with that. But anyway, the point being is the grief that is portrayed in this novel, in this novel, it was breathtaking. It made me cry so many times, and I haven't lost my dad, luckily. I still have him around in my life, and I do not look forward to the day where he is no longer on this earth. But even with the complications of them finding out that they're sisters, because they had no idea about each other, like, it found out after the crash, was just... I was just like, I wouldn't even know how to process that. Like, that's just insane. And I felt like they handled it in a mature way, even though they were both in high school. I thought that it was absolutely phenomenal. And I was just like, oh my god, like, what? Like, yes. Like, oh, it was just so good. And then number 2 was the sibling dynamic. Like, even though they didn't know about each other, and even though they were both hurt by what transgressions that their father had committed by living a double life, pretty much, and, doing what he did. I absolutely love that they came together because they knew that that's what their father would have wanted, first of all, and I thought that that was very mature of them. Like, that is something some adults can't even fathom when they're going through grief. Like, it's fresh off the press grief. Like, they just found out. I forget how long it goes into the grief. I want to say like a month or so, and like that's not even anything in a time of grief. Like, I'm absolutely blown away by how great the sibling dynamic was between the 2 girls, and about how when Yahara goes into Camino's, because Camino lives in the Dominican Republic and Yahara lives in New York, and even though there's different, and Yahara feels like she's not Latina enough because she doesn't speak Spanish and she had to get stuff translated and stuff like that. I don't know. I was just really blown away by how much the sisters ended up loving each other. And now, granted, obviously it's not going to be instantaneous. Like, they're not going to be best friends forever. Like, there's going to be hard times, and like, I imagine, like, after the book ended that, things didn't always go as smoothly. But there are some events that occur, trigger warning for sexual assault, and just that, I think, really bonded them together. Like, they both were sexually assaulted in different ways, but uh, I feel like a solidarity comes between women and men who have been sexually assaulted. Like, it's just someone that gets it and will protect you from it and, believe you in most times. So I really did love that. And then number one, just the time and research that Elizabeth went into, because the plane crash that happened in the book is actually based off of a real life plane crash that happened coming back from the Dominican Republic, I want to say, yes. And it happened shortly after 9/11. So, of course, 9/11, overshadowed it. And, the whole world was in an uproar over that, which, I mean, rightfully so. Obviously, it was a terrible thing that happened. It was a tragedy. But she reminded me of Ruta Sepetys in that way, because Ruta Sepetys takes things from World War II and a little bit after World War II. I don't know what her next project is going to be, but they're lesser known things, and you learn a lot from books, and I think that just is powerful in and of itself, because those people should be remembered. I mean, that was a tragedy in and of itself as well, and just because it didn't have the global outstanding grief that 9/11 didn't mean that they should have been overlooked by what happened from 9/11. Like, both of these plane crashes were absolutely terrible and devastated many people. Like, it's just awful. But I'm very glad to have read it, and I highly, highly recommend you going and checking out Elizabeth Acevedo, and I cannot wait to get her other books. They're both on hold for my library, because clearly she is a very well and beloved author, rightfully so. And, I can't wait to get to the other two. With The Fire on High, I'm not as excited about, because it deals with teen pregnancy, and I'm not really big in on that. But I'm still excited to give it a chance. I don't think it's going to be a bad book by any means. I think I just have to adjust my judgments before I read it, because just because it's about that doesn't mean that it's going to be, any less impactful than anything else that she's written. And I'm still excited. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon with a new video. Bye!